So for my informative speech in my multimedia project, I decided to describe the process and everything around how to build a PC. So do you know that building your own computer can not only save you money, but also give you complete control over performance and customization? Whether you're a gamer, student, or someone who just wants a faster machine, learning how to build a computer gives you the power to choose exactly what you need. In this video, I'll be walking over what components are necessary for building a PC, how to assemble the parts, and the importance of each component. So for me, building and owning a PC is more than just a process of building. Even though I really enjoy that process, the PC community itself is a deep and rich community full of amazing people which you can interact and help with because thousands and thousands of people have gone through the same process and have had the same problems as you. So it's really enjoyable to connect with them and see what their experiences were. And here's my PC, which I recently built just this winter break. It's my second PC, so I feel like I have a decent amount of experience with this topic. So the main parts, which are roughly seven parts just for a base necessary for your PC, which is the first part being the central processing unit, often referred to as the brains of the computer. It handles all the instructions it receives, performs basic arithmetic, logic, control, and input-output operations specified by the instructions in the program. The CPU is critical because it directly impacts the speed and overall performance of your system, especially for tasks like gaming, video editing, or running large software applications. For CPUs, there's really only two main manufacturers, being Intel and AMD. The next part is the motherboard, which is the main circuit board that connects all your computer components, allowing them to communicate together. It holds the CPU, RAM, storage devices, and expansion cards like the GPU together. The motherboard determines what type of processors, RAM, and storage devices are compatible with your build. Choosing the right motherboard is crucial for compatibility and future upgradability. So something like for the CPUs, since there's only like Intel and AMD, you have to have different sockets. So you have to make sure you buy an Intel motherboard for an Intel processor. The next part's the RAM, which provides temporary storage for data that the CPU needs quick access to while performing tasks. The more RAM you have, the more tasks you can run simultaneously without your computer slowing down. Having more RAM enables your computer to handle more programs and applications at once. This is particularly important for tasks like gaming, video editing, or running virtual machines. Next is the graphics card, also known as the GPU, also known as the graphics card, is responsible for rendering images, videos, and animations. It takes the load off the CPU when handling graphics-heavy tasks like gaming or video rendering. The next is storage, whether you have SSD or HDD. Storage devices keep your files, programs, and operating systems. SSDs are faster and more reliable than HDDs, though they tend to be more expensive per gigabyte. The speed of your storage device impacts how quickly your computer boots up and how fast programs load. Then the power supply. The power supply converts the electrical power from your wall outlet into the DC power your computer components need to function. The PSU needs to provide enough wattage to power your components safely. A low quality PSU can cause instability crashes or even hardware failure. And finally, we have the case. The case holds all the components together and provides ventilation to keep the system cool. It also offers additional features like cable management and aesthetic customization. And the size of the case determines what components you can use and how well the system will be cooled. Next, we have the full step-by-step process and how to put your computer together. So first, you have the installing the CPU onto the motherboard. Then you align the CPU with the socket, ensuring it's placed correctly, and use the included thermal paste for cooling. And on top of your CPU, you put your CPU fan, which can be either aftermarket or whatever comes with the CPU. And you also important to make sure you know whether you have Intel or AMD. Installing them are different. Next is the RAM. This is probably the easiest part. You just slot the RAM into the memory slots on the motherboard and put a little force on them, ensuring they click into place. And then if you have like an SSD, it goes on your motherboard, you can install it now. And then you mount the motherboard into the case. You secure the motherboard to the case with screws or standoffs to prevent short circuits. This can be difficult because maneuvering around the tight corners of a PC case can be pretty annoying. And you can also install storage devices after this part if you don't have one that goes straight onto your motherboard. Then you also install the power supply. Secure the PSU into the case, making sure cables are easy accessible to connect to the components. Then you install the GPU right onto the motherboard. You slot the GPU into the PCIe 16 slot on the motherboard and connect it to the PSU for power. Next, you connect all your cables from your power supply and your computer straight onto your motherboard. Then finally, test the system. You power the system on to ensure all parts are functioning correctly. If necessary, enter the BIOS to check and mess around with your settings. Also, after this, most people, usually the whole process doesn't go too smoothly, so you might have to troubleshoot. Some common problems are not booting. For this one, just ensure all power cables are connected, especially the 24 pin motherboard cable and 8-pin CPU power cable, and check that the RAM and GPU are securely seated. The next problem is overheating. Ensure all fans are properly installed and functioning, and apply thermal paste properly, and make sure the case has good airflow. And the most common one, no display. Check that the monitor is connected to the GPU if you're using a dedicated graphics card, and ensure the GPU is seated correctly in its PCIe slot. Today, we covered the essential components needed to build a computer, the step-by-step process of assembling them, and troubleshooting tips for common problems. This just scratched the surface of PC building. It only really provided a basic step-by-step process. And don't be intimidated. Building computers are a very rewarding experience. So with the right knowledge, you can customize it to suit your needs perfectly. So what's stopping you from building your own? Start by selecting your components and begin with your first build today. I recommend just going on YouTube and just learning about it, just watching YouTube videos. That's how I learned. Thank you.